Hi, welcome back to Reading Between the Years. It's Dana.
It's Judy.
Just continuing our conversations that we've had over the last few weeks. If you've been with us, you've heard us talk about kind of family relationships through the generations. I think that's a big part of what we're talking about. We've talked about our great grandparents and what we knew of them, because let's be honest, we didn't really know that much. Our grandparents, how they raised our parents, and then how that affected us as children kind of growing up. And today I think we're going to focus more on us as parents and how if see if we can tie it kind of all together and how the trends that we saw down the through the previous generations affected us as parents and therefore our kids. Does that sound like what we want to do?
Yeah, it does. You know what I came across someone's recording or someone's podcast. I don't know if it was a Facebook reel or whatever about how much we influence our kids through their years. And I was shocked to see, and I don't know if this was just their opinion or if it was actually a tested, you know, figure, but he said something about we only have a 6% influence on our kids after the age of 15. And I thought,
Wow.
oh, I mean, I immediately at the exact same time thought, okay, so mostly everything after that isn't my fault. And then the other one was, what? How
Yeah.
could we not? Because, all the way through 18, really college years too, we have such, as parents, such an influence on our kids.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah. I know I felt, and I know, and this really came out when my son had kids, so that I could kind of, do the parenting little advice that, of course, they love so much was everything you have them for such a short amount of time. What you need to instill are the skills, the problem solving, and all that kind of stuff, because then you go off and the rest of your life is testing your
Mhm.
skill set and what maybe you learned, and if it isn't right, changing it. So I mean, I believe it if you look at all the things that we learn in the medical world, that they are much more peer defined at that age than they have anything to do with the parents, because if it's going right, because as far as I'm concerned, that's what you need. You want them to move on. It's so hard. It's one of those, it kind of reminds me of when they talk about being a good entrepreneur, your whole goal of having a business is so that you can sell it for money. And it's kind of like, what? It's kind of like with kids. The whole
Sure.
goal of being so attached and building them into the strong humans is so they can leave. What?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
No, don't leave me.
don't leave. I love you. I've spent all this time loving you and now you're going to leave.
Yeah.
But that's a really scary figure if you think about it, because you truly have less time than I think we all realized to
Mhm.
have that impact. That's
Yeah, because
crazy.
people go with the Saturday, concept. Like, how many Saturdays do I have left with my kid until they graduate from high school? And that's, 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
And to think that it decreases so much, like 3 to 4 years sooner.
Hmm.
And yeah, it is kind of scary. I
Yeah.
thought it was a little tiny bit depressing at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
But then
Yeah.
again, when you look at adult kids, they're still, at least our three, still asking for advice, still asking for money, still asking for, you know, our opinion. I mean, a couple of them do, one of them really doesn't, but yeah, just the whole opinion and
Yeah.
sharing things because all three of our kids share completely different things with me and they share different things with dad, so it's the stuff that you have in common with your kids that they share and the other stuff they share with your spouse or
Mhm.
whomever or the grandparents,
Yeah.
like our daughter, our middle kid, texted my dad and said, and she showed me what she texted him. I thought grandpa would like this picture of this fire truck and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, he would have, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's all so, and I know I overuse this word, it's also multifaceted when it comes
Yeah.
to that kind of sharing stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's scary. It's scary to think that you don't have that much influence anymore.
Yeah.
And then just looking at that age 15 gives you less time. And you think, and along with the other thoughts I mentioned, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I hope that I did what I needed to do before the age of 15, because that's like, freshman, sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you said, all the other influences, the outside influences, that's where it's all taking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. I woke up the other night, couldn't get back to sleep, and immediately when I'm in that kind of half awake phase, all the anxieties come out about everything. And I noticed, so still about this ambition thing with my youngest son. It's like, what if that's his life and he looks back on his life and he realizes that he could have pushed himself more and become all that he wanted to be and da 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 da. And I had to get out of bed and get some distraction because I was just sitting there swirling in my bed. And it's funny how, I mean, how do our kids stand a chance if we're still struggling with our things? Like if you figure 15, so I had kids later. So I had Max, so I was only 47. Well, it's older, but I was 47 when Max turned 15. That's my oldest. And I had no clue about all the things that I was even struggling with at that time. I hadn't taken the time. I still had two young kids. I hadn't even realized that I was on these patterns that had been previously set by the way I was raised and therefore, by the way, my mom and dad were raised, they don't stand a chance. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
so all this help that's out there right now for the 20 somethings that are realizing who they are and what was done wrong to them, all that help should be coming to us because we have fewer years left and shouldn't we be happy and realized in the last 20 years of our lives, they've got their whole years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about
That's a
us
good
feeling
point.
better. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I want to
That's a
be
good
happy.
point.
I want to be happy in the end of my life. I don't want to still be struggling this and with this, and that's on me. And I get that. But it's like, wow, if these kids really figure it out, they're going to have a pretty good setup for the rest of their lives.
Well, I- I'm sad that you're still dwelling on that. Have you talked to him about the
Oh
whole
yeah. Oh
vision
yeah.
conversation? Yeah.
I am fully aware and he's fully aware of who we are. You know what I mean? I know. Although I sit back and I laughed at myself again this week when I took on another project.
Data.
It's like, hey, do you want to be the chair of this? And I say absolutely because there are some things I'd love to fix or love to make better and see if we can do some different things with this organization. But it's not a small organization.
Mm,
And it's like I automatically said yes. I did take some time and go, okay, nobody's going to see you be this person, right? Your dad isn't here anymore, who was always my one that I achieved for. You know, you don't have to prove anything to anybody, and I still did it. So I feel like I went into it with a little bit more awareness, but
mhm.
I still did it. Damn it, I still did it. You
And it's a
know,
big project. It's an
it's
ongoing thing.
it's a chair of a larger committee of an organization that I'm a part of,
Okay.
which is great. And I don't kid myself. I know it's one of those where it's like nobody else wants to do it because everybody's so busy. Well, yeah, I'm busy too, but it's going to be a good thing. I see it being something that can be positive moving forward. And I'm in that, 2 more years. I can do it for 2 years and then I'll be done when I retire and somebody else can take it on.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
But
But if you hit set the groundwork for it,
yeah.
then, and if you've got positive changes for it, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's what everybody kept saying. Do you see things that need to be? But once again, so now, yeah, I keep saying yes, man. But I don't know
Yes,
that I don't know that that's a bad thing. I don't know if that's a good thing. I feel like I said, I had a conversation with myself and realized that, you're not winning points with anybody. You got to do the work. Nobody cares that you're doing it. They're not going to say that, and she was the chair of this committee at my funeral.
ma'am.
But I think that it's become more of which feels good. It's become more of what I want, not so much reactionary for what I think I'm going to get externally from it.
Yeah.
The decision was made in a better place. But I tell you, some of these things that we grew up with, these coping mechanisms or ways that we thought we would get whatever we felt like we needed, those run deep, man. Because not the anxieties that I have for my son have nothing to do with him. Because I ended up that night when I finally went back to sleep and thought, that's
Keep
probably
talking.
a
I gotta fix my speaker here.
I thought that's probably a really good life. Who says that it's wrong? He doesn't, he's happy with where he is, contented with what's going on. He's probably found some version of, Gen X, Gen Z, millennial Zen. where it's like, I'm happy with what I have. Everything's good. I don't want for anything. And I always thought that would be a great place to be. If you're happy with how things are, that's wonderful. But if you're spending your life, you know, ruminating that you're not happy, but you're not willing to make changes, that's a whole different thing. But he seems very happy with where he is. He's happy with the job he has right now, and that's fine. And he doesn't want for anything. It's just who he is as a human. And I finally said, who am I to judge that that's a bad choice? He's able to meet his needs.
Mhm.
So I was able to rationalize it, but I thought, man, my anxieties affect my kids even in my own brain. The things that I
Yeah.
worry about, they don't care about, but I worry about it for
Yeah.
them.
And
Ugh.
and why put yourself through that?
Mm,
We're all picking and choosing with, geez, all of that, all of
yeah.
that stuff.
Mm,
And what we're gonna hem and haw over and what we're gonna let go
yeah.
constantly, and then don't even see what's important or what our kids are focusing on, what they don't even remember.
Yeah.
So it's it's where the whole title of our podcast
Mhm.
comes from, is where are we
Yeah.
between the
We're
years?
between the years. What's
It's
going on?
amazing.
I always laugh I work with people that are probably younger than half my age, a lot of them. And I think you can see in their faces that they feel or they are expecting that when they get to be older that they're going to be completely different people. And it doesn't happen. And maybe that's part of the problem with this realization and this insight seeking that the 20 somethings are doing is that they they're basing a lot of things on false premises, on false understandings of what
Mhm.
aging is and everything. It's like you're going to be the same. I still feel 13. You're still going to be that 13-year-old girl when you're older. You'll still have the same stuff going on. And if they had that realization, maybe they would be kinder to their parents if they're the ones that are cutting parents off. And it's just such a self-centered place to be that you can't even see outside of it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
I mean, and I don't think focusing on the ego is going to be good for anybody at any time.
No, it reminds me of what we talked about either last week or a couple of weeks ago about how is addressing what happened when you were 6 years old going to fix the adult in you now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah. Just to get it straight, everybody. Dana has two sons. I have two daughters and a son, so we have three. She has two.
Yeah.
And they're all adults, or at least we'd like to think they are.
Well, they're functioning. They have jobs. They
Yeah,
seem to be able to have
they
form
all have jobs.
meaningful relationships.
Yeah. And you have two grandkids.
I have seven.
Seven. Wait a second.
I have two here. My
Two
family
here.
has two. My husband's family has five boys. Five boys.
Oh,
So
okay,
I've
okay.
step grandkids. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't include those. Yeah, and then we have four.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
do you feel like you understood parenting until you were a parent?
No, and I still don't.
Yeah.
I still don't. It's
Yeah.
it's it's the whole thing about your entire life. There's something every single day that you don't know or you didn't know. And you see that
Mhm.
constantly on social media about, I was this many years old when I was told blah, 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 or I found this out. You know, it's, it's nerve wracking and it's
Mhm.
funny at the same time. I know that sounds kind of weird, but yeah,
No.
no, I don't know parenting. I didn't know parenting. And sometimes I'll look back and think, okay, when my kids were probably, all of them were in elementary school because there's 6 years between the first and the youngest.
Mhm.
So they were all in elementary school at the same time. What the heck was I doing? What was I doing for a job? What did I do? Like, what else were we doing in our lives? And I
Mhm.
think I was nuts. I was crazy, but what worked then because that's the way the world worked.
Hmm.
And then it changed it the next year, and it changed the next year, and it changed the next year. And with progress and innovation, everything changes because we had to adapt and overcome. And
Hmm.
it's still happening, whether we're parents or grandparents. But even with our kids, you know, I have a couple students who are, and even in the classroom, like when I was teaching at Baker, they were surprised that I was that, I guess, adept at social media and electronics and things like that for what we had at the time.
Hmm.
And it was because of my kids. It was mostly because of my son.
Yeah.
And my son now, because what he's taught me and because of what I've taught him, he now brags about me. He says to his friends, "Yeah, my mom can hook up a church live stream and in 10 minutes and blah blah blah. And she's really good at this." And I'm like, "Well, it's because of you, Eric,
That's okay.
because of that, so that I have to keep up, you know,
Yeah.
with everything." But it's always changing. So when it comes to parenthood, no, I don't feel like I knew what I was doing. Did I feel like 75% of the time I was doing okay? Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably did. And there were times that I felt like 25% of the time I was doing things good. And then there are those days that you crash and you want to sit in the bottom of your closet with the door shut and cry on the floor that
Mm.
nothing goes right.
Yeah.
And you do that while your kids are in school, and then you have to go get in the car and go get them and wipe your tears. And then the next day it's better,
Yeah.
you know? But if that really long answer to your question, nope, never have, probably never will. And I'm okay with that.
Do you feel like the recent changes with their relationship with your daughter made you question that more, or did you feel like you didn't have any idea why you were in the thick of it? You
I
know
think
what I
I
mean?
think a little of both because
Yeah.
I look back. That's a good question. I look back and think I know I did the best I could because of this, and this, and I have to convince myself. I don't even have to convince myself. I know I'm a good person, and my intentions back then were honorable and they were true and blah blah blah. And but then now with the questioning and things like that, I do I do I question myself? Yes, but I still come back with the majority of it. Yes, I did the best with what I had at the time.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, luckily, and we are very blessed with this, we have no problem discussing those kinds of things and
Yeah.
supporting each other on it. And I'm open, and he's very open to us giving each other, whether it be constructive feedback or positive feedback about stuff that's going on now and the stuff and looking back. I think now it's easier to look back with different eyes and say, man, why did I do that? Or I
Mhm.
regret this, but nobody died.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have done this different.
Yeah.
But I think that we deserve that hindsight
Mhm.
as parents and grandparents now of adult kids. And I think we deserve that hindsight to
Yeah.
look back and be able to see it.
I mean, that's the thing I think that crushes me the most of all these things that we see of people that are cut off by their kids and stuff like that is that I hope that it doesn't make those parents who undoubtedly, I think we all at least want to believe that we had good intent. Like we always put the disclaimer out with this conversation that there are people that are evil and we're not saying that there aren't. But to be forced back to start doubting yourself for things that happened years before, that's just soul crushing. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, and you said the intention. It's like I think it was easier too for back when we were parents, when our kids were little, it wasn't we were all kind of in it together. There were play groups, you get together with your play groups and the kids would play and the mothers would talk and it was all very non-showy, just like we got to do this for our sanity, man. I feel like now with parents, it's so much more of a status thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we joke all the time. This other friend of mine who does not have children, she's a fur mommy or whatever. They act like they're the only person that ever gave birth. They are the only person in the world that's ever been pregnant. They're the only person in the world that's ever had kids. And
Mhm.
maybe that's going to be another thing where we talk about the lack and the downfall of not having generational, like when all generations used to live together, what that brought to the family. It's like you weren't meant to be a parent alone with your children. You're meant to have your parents there as well and have it all kind of work together so you weren't the sole person influencing these lives and taking care of these children.
Right.
But I
Right.
feel like, this whole status of being a parent and everything that goes on now, that would be a struggle. It's kind of the same thing that makes me say I would not want to be young now. I would not want to be in my 20s out there trying to make it. Hell no.
No,
There's too
no,
much.
no.
Too much going on. I could not,
It's too
there was
much
no way.
pressure.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
we lived a very simple life. The years where it was just me and my boys were the best years ever. I will always look back on those 3 years where it was just us trying to make it. We were a little three-headed unit that would walk around and go to the grocery
Aw,
store. It was just me
Three
and the kid.
Musketeers.
And it was just the best because it was very simple. Very, very simple life. Like you
Yeah.
said, you didn't die. But it was just like, yeah, you came home at the end of the day in the summer and they were dirty and tired and they fell asleep on while you were reading books because they were so tired because they were just out playing. We always joked that Mason was the happiest with a pile of dirt and a stick because he would just go out there and play outside. They were
Yep.
turning over rocks and all that. And the pressure nowadays, whew,
Yeah. And the
I
video
don't know.
games,
Yeah,
because kids don't get outside as much.
yeah,
Even your kids' ages back then, video games. Because our son, our youngest, is 33, and he was stuck on video games in high
yeah.
school and not getting out as much. Um, but yeah, that's tough. You were talking about living as a family unit, and
Hmm.
some people still do that. Um, but I remember the I don't know if I'd call it chastising or chastisement about when our oldest had kids, and I would get these comments about, well, like, differences in parenting, and
Hmm.
she's got a newborn, and I would say something or suggest something, or even just say, well, yeah, back when you were little we used to blah blah blah, just for conversation, just for comparing. Oh my gosh, comparing, sorry. And I'd get comments like, well, that was back in the day, we don't do it that way anymore, the condescending kind of, geez, mom, get it together. Of course we don't do that.
Well, that's better than what I got. You don't need to give me any parenting advice, thanks.
Oh,
That's what I got. So it was like, okay, all right. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take that. That relieves me a great deal of some of the stress that I have, where it's like, I gotta say something for crying out loud. This is what I think. All the little triggers. His daughter is 10. I remember vividly being 10, and the things I look back now at 62 and see this happened when I was 10 and this affected me in this way. I can see the things that happened to me from 8 to 12. Nothing big. I mean, we moved overseas and just kind of the socially stuff. But I just itch, man, to say stuff. And it's like, oh, that makes me crazy. But him saying, I'm not interested in parenting advice from you. And it's like, okay, I can handle that,
oh
you
man.
know. So then I went down a rabbit hole today with that because flipping Jordan Peterson, man, he will rock your world. He said had a quote about if you have something to say but you don't say it, that's lying or something like that. Let me see if I can. And have you ever read any Brene Brown? Have you ever done any of
No,
her stuff?
nope, not her. No.
She talks about how she does this thing where she gives you 10 quality, or excuse me, 100 qualities, a hundred, integrity, honesty, things like that, so that you can build your core qualities. What are the things that you choose to live by in your life? And hers was like courage, honesty, and there was one more, but she wants you to break it down to two basic ones. And one of the ones that I have is honesty. It's like, hey, tell me anything. If you don't tell me, that's worse than. It's like doing something is one thing, like when the kids are little. I don't care that you did it. I care that you lied to me about it.
Mhm.
That kind
Yeah,
of twist.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. We were in the same boat.
yeah, so I didn't his thing is when you have something to say, silence is a lie. So if one of my core values, let's give credit to Brene, she's amazing. If you ever read her stuff, I find her very easy to read and it makes a lot of sense to me. So if one of my
Put a
core,
link on this video for her.
huh?
We
Yeah,
should put a link on this video for her.
yeah. So if one of my core qualities is honesty, integrity, that whole kind of thing that I will tell you, not this when pe girls are just being bitches, but they say they're being honest. I'm not a bitch, I'm just being honest. No, that's
That's not the
for
same.
reaction. Yeah, that's for reaction. So if one of my core qualities though is honesty, and he says this, when you have something to say, silence is a lie. It's like, so
And
what
you're
are we supposed
you're
to what are
complacent.
we what are
Agreeing.
we supposed to do with our kids when we have something like that that we want to say, especially if it's something that's important that you feel something is I don't want to say off or being missed or whatever. I
Just
don't like the fact that I feel like I have to shift who I am to be able to, meet this requirement that was placed on me for my son. But then I love my son and I want to honor his family because what would I have done at 30 if my parents had said something to me? Would I have, it's this the ever generational
yeah,
flip and quandary out
yeah.
there.
And you want to respect his wishes,
Yeah,
but that blatant request of I don't want to hear your parenting advice,
yeah,
maybe just that needs to be clarified.
yeah.
Maybe you need to, maybe that needs to be talked about. In your case, it may be too late because I don't know if it was the oldest or the youngest that I've met, but um
Oh, it wasn't said
yeah.
mean though. That's him too though. That's him the way he talks to me. And I was fine with it. It didn't cause a fight. It didn't cause any problems. It was just like, Mom, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, so couch it as an observation and not advice, maybe couch it as a
Yeah.
different category.
Yeah, I don't know. Play a little wordsmithy, but what a waste of
Why are
flipping
we,
time.
pardon
Why
me?
do we have to do this?
Why do we have to step on eggshells with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like we don't we haven't we earned
Yeah.
the opportunity and
Mm,
the space to be who we are with our kids?
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change. And looking back and thinking about what happened in the past, like we were talking about before, is it is anything that I say going to change that? I like I said, we all want to say we did the best we had with the tools we had at the time.
Hmm.
But and you can't change that. You can't change what happened in the past. So is it worth you losing sleep over this ambition comment? It's not worth losing sleep over. You can't take it back, and maybe it was misunderstood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was misinterpreted. But we talked about this in our very first one about communication
Yeah.
and understanding what you meant or what someone meant as opposed to how they took it and what you're owed and what they're owed and if that even exists,
Yeah. And then when how just it's brutal to just cut people off without having that communication.
it
I
is.
don't understand it.
It is. It's
I
it's
don't.
very it's very unfair, and I think it's selfish, and it's driven by a completely uh, different aspect of society today.
Yeah.
It just is because once a patient, always a patient kind of thing, and that goes with counseling as well.
Ooh.
I'm not discounting therapy at all
Yeah.
because everybody needs it, but it depends on who you go to and it depends on what they say. And I mean, my husband being a pastor, when he will do like a marriage counseling thing, but if he can't solve that in 2 sessions, he sends him to a professional.
Yeah.
Even though they've all had training in that, but they're not professionals when it comes to marriage counseling or relationship counseling. I don't, there are people out there who have been in therapy for years and with the same therapist and nothing's changed in their life. And even
Hmm.
get dumped out of the nest and they send you to another therapist, things change. Is it good or is it bad? What
Yeah.
do they want out of you?
Yeah.
You know, just it's you go to therapy to heal. And if you're still there, after years, what's wrong with the picture?
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say we've all been in some kind of therapy at one time or another.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's uh, subjective, I guess.
Hmm. Has he ever been asked to sit with families when he does his counseling? Is that something that he could do as opposed to just marriage, spouse?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, very few times I think, and that's, believe it or not, it's just been a communication issue, communication and patience,
Yeah.
and just knowing facts and things like that that helped those particular situations.
Yeah.
And egos came into play. So
That's
egos and
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah. I think we all are guilty of when there's silence, we fill in the silence with whatever we think is the truth. It's just, but if you shut down that communication, you'll never know if that's even true or if it was a figment of your imagination.
right.
Is it something you dreamed? We all have that time. Did that happen or did I dream that?
Yeah,
We all have even that lack of clarity at times. And if we're
yeah,
not going to give each other the respect of asking the questions,
right,
that's too
right.
bad.
Or
Yeah.
communicating through someone else,
Yeah.
that, and not getting straight communication.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's
That's
um
telephone. That's playing the telephone
the
game right
telephone
there.
game. And I think it's a purposely selfish driven thing to to punish the other person,
Wow. Yeah.
communicating through a spouse or through a boyfriend or through a husband, and saying, hey honey, go text my mom and tell her blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It just depends. I'm not talking about myself, but I've seen
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah. That reminded me of when I was out west, so I was 30 something. My middle brother was had some kind of a row with my mom. Now that I think about it, my oldest brother had some kind of row with my mom and her. I wonder what those were about. I should ask those. Let's stir up something in their lives. Let's see. Let's bring out some of their wounds. That would be horrible, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh. It reminds me of what we were talking about a couple weeks ago about how our siblings have different memories of
Yeah.
family occasions and parties and fights and things like that that we do.
Oh my
Because
gosh,
of
that's
age
funny.
differences, or somebody talked to you and it didn't talk to me, and just,
Yeah.
yeah, just different memories in the family. Oh, you didn't know that happened? No, I never knew that. What? The dog ate my shoes. You told me that you threw them out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The old ham in the pan. Ham in the pan.
Ham in the pan.
Ham in the
Yeah.
pan. I guess all we can hope is that, yeah. I always believe that the pendulum swings, right? We usually go, I mean, look at our political, the pendulum swings way over here and eventually it's going to correct just as far the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe all of this cutting off of family members and they'll realize that the key is the communication part, the asking the questions, the seeking the truth, and hopefully we'll swing back the other way and
Yeah,
we can all find some way to coexist.
it would make sense, wouldn't it?
It would, because at one point in
Yeah.
time we got along, you know,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
our
And very, yeah. And sometimes years ago, but sometimes just weeks ago.
yeah,
And then, and
something triggered
yeah.
that stupid
I,
trigger
I
word.
hate the word trigger. I'm sorry. I hate the word trigger. I hate the word triggered. I hate the word toxic. I hate the word boundaries,
Yeah,
because those are the three things that therapists today are pushing, and they don't equal healing, no matter
yeah,
what combination that you happen to use them in. They don't equal healing. Then you can't sit in your pain and talk about this with the person that matters, and get by it.
yeah,
Just it doesn't work just to sit back and do nothing, because that's what you're doing by blocking people. You're just doing
yeah,
nothing. And then when you want to talk about it, it's hashing it out, or
yeah,
yeah, we need to get this done. And that's not what it's about. That's not respectful.
yeah.
That sounds like it's a one-sided thing.
Yeah, there's an intention in there that's not on the positive side of things when you're
No,
doing that,
no, it's not.
going in there looking. But I don't know. I don't have the answers right now. Both my kids are talking to me, so that's a win.
It's a good thing.
We got to take the wins as they come.
Yes, we do. We do. Maybe we should continue next week talking about some kids and then go into the losing a spouse, a parent, or a sibling kind of thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. I think we'll have endless material.
we will.
That's for sure.
Come and join us because we're reading between the years.
Yes, we are, and hopefully surviving it all.
Yeah, so far, so
So
far.
far, it's a good day.
Okay, bye
Bye.
everybody. We'll see you next week.